seriously, down to this point, Bronwyn, on the three Cs, on COVID, on China, on climate, Australia has got to do what works for Australia. The world is trying to beat us up, and there's plenty of people trying to weaken us within our own country. We can be trusted. Our values are sound. We're world leaders on so many things. We shouldn't be distracted from knowing that and being confident about it.
Quite right, Gary. We are a very fine nation. We have a very fine system that allows people to aspire, to be enabled to reach their very best. And if we just practice a bit more free enterprise, even just a little bit, because we're very short on it at the moment, whereby we ensure that individuals can reach their maximum potential. And that means everyone, Gary. It just doesn't mean the brightest. It means someone who's got a disability. It means someone who's disadvantaged. It means someone who's ordinary, but to reach their maximum potential. That's the aim of a free enterprise society. When the philosophy of individualism means that every individual matters and is important, and not like collectivism, which is the only other philosophy available. And that is where the individual can be sacrificed to the collective for what they deem to be the greater good. This country was founded on the principles of individualism, on the principles of free enterprise. And if we go back to them, we will be a blossoming country again. We've got big problems we've got to face. COVID is something we're simply going to have to learn to live with. Climate change is something we have to stand fast on. It's got to be something that's in Australia's interest, which means we have to ensure that we can continue to turn our lights on and keep them on, and that we can enable our manufacturing to be brought back to this country. We have to become more self-resilient. And simply by saying those things and that are important to us as a nation have to be at the forefront of every politician's mind, because what we are elected and what you and I were both elected to do was to be a servant of the people, not a master of the people, a servant of the people. And when we talk about Gladys, we'll say something about that too.
Yeah, well, we certainly will. I mean, Tandria, this is the point. The reason I raise this is that I think there is this distraction that we're all looking at one thing. I think we can actually walk and chew gum at the same time, and I want our politicians to be ambitious, for our country to actually be positive, to give people something to look forward to. I mean, the years of development in the wild west of America, the presidents dropped everything and went off to watch a spike being laid in a railway track to connect the east and the west coast. Those kind of imagining of nation-building, enterprise-driven kind of projects, I think Australians want to see that from their pollies now.
Look, I think you're right, Gary. I think, the best parts of Australia when we do have that component of a frontier optimism, and we find that I think we're best when we find this kind of ideal mix of, say, Europe, the staunch individualism or freedoms of America, and sometimes the sort of welfare collectivism that you get, say, on Europe. And we often find a really good middle ground. And I think for the most part, we have been doing that. And we've really flexed. I feel like we've really kind of asserted ourselves in recently, obviously in the realm of security. And realistically, in the past few years, we've become so wealthy, we forget how much power we actually have on a global stage. I mean, our economy was only marginally below Russia, and at a third of the population. So we're very much a powerful middle power. And I think we're exerting ourselves, certainly in security, but also I think we have that power to assert ourselves in climate and have our own policy, which is thoroughly within the realms of OECD averages, etc. And I feel like we get beaten down more internally than internationally, but it seems to have more grip in terms of public debate or public criticism than I feel like it should.